Okay, I think yeah, let me just make sure. Let me make sure it's streaming live on YouTube already. Okay. I think we should be live on YouTube already. Just a minute, let me make sure it's not streaming on my end. Okay. I think we should be going live. Yes, I think we're live.
Did you share it on?
Awesome. Yes. So happy Thursday, everybody. Once more, welcome back to this week's conversation. I am excited. I am pumped up. I am so excited because we're going to be talking about something very important, right? This topic, this ailment, this challenge, this thing that is starting to become a cancer affects immigrants, it affects working class people, it affects politicians, professionals, even high income people. It's important to understand because we are going to be exposing the system that keeps people trapped and share how to break free from the debt and credit card trap. In this episode, I have my friend, my brother, as usual, Dr. Heinrich Edimo, who is going to be joining me. I am going to be exploiting his brain. I'm going to be tricking him. I'm going to be asking questions from different angles to get you all to really experience what it takes to not only fall for the credit card trap, but to dig yourself out of it like he has done over the years and get yourself back into a positive net worth and moving upwards towards $1 million. Dr. Dimo, how are you doing today?
Oh, my brother, it's a beautiful day to be alive. We are living in one of the most exciting times in history where
Absolutely.
access to information technology and opportunity has never been greater. Yet,
I agree.
too many of us are still living paycheck to paycheck. Tonight, we are going to change this narrative. We will
Yes.
talk about the power of savings, intentionally investing wisely, and building generational wealth, not just for ourselves, but for those who come after us. Because success is not about how much we make, it's about how much we keep, grow, and pass on. It's a beautiful day to be alive, brother.
Man, that's powerful. That's powerful. I love that. I love that. I'm just taking a second here to share the link live so people can join. And once I do that, I will certainly copy you two on it. That way you can you can also go ahead and share it. Just a minute here. Okay. Yeah, I think I tagged you in it.
Okay.
Awesome. Yes. Wonderful. Dr. Dimo, I like the way you intro this today because the big question that I get all the time with a lot of my clients, and I'm sure you get that too, a lot of the people I coach, at the end of the year, when their accountant or their tax person does their taxes, the first question they usually have, did I make this much money? Where did the money go to, right? And in this season and in this time, especially because we are living in a time when people really need to understand what is happening. People really need to know how to not only generate but manage the money. Because credit normally should be a leverage, but it has become a lifestyle and no longer a tool today, right? Immigrants fall into this presentation pressure, living to look successful. School teachers teach us how to earn, but nobody really teaches us how to manage, how to multiply. Debt has been normalized instead of being shunned upon, especially bad debt. Budgeting has been put to the back burner. People just feel free to live their lives, don't care about tomorrow. I want you to really walk through this process for me. I want you to tell me from your experience, why do you think so many professionals are stuck in a credit-based lifestyle rather than a cash-based life? And why are they not understanding how important it is to stay away from bad debt And that's exactly what we're talking today, mostly the bad debt. I want you to get on that for me.
Do you know why they don't teach financial literacy in schools?
Why not?
There is a reason why financial literacy is not being taught in school. So that to keep the poor and help them in that mindset of being the poor. Do you know that American government survive, the economy survive based on spending? If we don't
Yes.
spend, this economy will crash.
Mm-hmm.
So that is why they don't teach us financial planning or financial literacy in school. They don't teach you that. You can go from kindergarten to elementary school to high school, even in college. Some of us, we did finance and we did MBA and stuff. There was no class that they taught us about financial literacy. That is
Fact.
being done on purpose in order to keep the economy going and to keep the rich getting richer at the expense of the poorer. Because if the rich starts knowing how to better manage their money, the consumption rate of America will reduce, the GDP will come down, and it will affect the bottom line of the rich.
Wow. Now I want you to hold that thought there. This is very powerful. So it's basically a secret being hidden in plain sight. So the people
Absolutely.
who have the privilege to understand exactly how to manage credit, how to understand the difference between good debt and bad debt, which we are going to come to that, they are the people who are going to get ahead. And talking about social pressure, that certainly plays a huge role, especially for us immigrants, right? Coming into America, there is that pressure to look a certain way. There is that pressure to present yourself like you're successful. There's that pressure to impress your family, impress your friends back in the continent, making sure you send all the things they need. When they ask money, you make sure it's available. Your parents, all these people, right? Why do you think it is so important for people to rather look rich than to actually build wealth?
I'm telling you, it's societal pressure. It's societal pressure. Let me ask you this. Do you think if you could have been left in a forest by yourself, you'll be living in the house that you're living today?
I'll certainly be living in a tent
Thank you. Do you
and
think
eating
if you
from
were
the land.
left, do you think if you were left in the forest today, you'll be driving the car that you're driving today?
But I won't need a car, Dr. Edimo. I mean, I'll probably just be walking around and I will be getting some exercises. I'll probably have been 200 pounds lighter. I bet you are right, for sure. I wouldn't.
So societal pressure plays a big part to the way that we live as humans. And
Yeah.
where we grow up and how we lived also plays a big part on how we perceive money. There are two kinds of people. Take, for instance, that you grew up in extreme poverty, that money to you was a problem. You saw your parents struggling for each penny that they made. There are two ways that you come out. You either come out holding money so tight that you don't want to lose it, or you come out, you see money, you spend it lavishly like you never ever saw it because
Mm-hmm.
you are thinking that you missed out on something. You want to give yourself something that you missed. But I'll tell you the rich mindset. I wrote something today on my Facebook. The rich and the wealthy, I'll say the wealthy, I don't call them the rich.
Mm-hmm.
They don't buy a Lamborghini or a Ferrari and they post it on the internet. They don't buy a 6, 7, 10 bedroom apartment or house, they post it on the internet. Do you know why we broke people we do that?
No.
To make our fellow friends feel that we have arrived. And that is the tendency that a lot of us we find ourselves today.
Wow.
People make in the Indian community and the Jewish community, they make $1 and they spend 20 or 30 cents. In
Come
the
again.
black, in the Indian and Jewish community, they
Correct.
make $1 and they spend 20 to 30 cents.
Out of that dollar.
Yep.
And they find a way
In
to invest and save 70 cents.
you
Wonderful.
drive around the United States. The Indians, they own a majority of the hotels and the gas
Correct.
stations.
Correct.
Do they do something totally different from what you and I are doing? It's all that they are saving. The African community and the immigrant community, they make $1 and they spend $2.
So, which means from the very beginning, you're already in a negative.
Absolutely. You know, Bernard Arnold, this is the founder of LVM, Louis Vuitton brand, that has all these brands. These are one of the most wealthiest people on earth.
Correct. Benoit
They
Arnault, you're
sell,
right.
yeah, they sell you the idea of an LV. They make a bag in Cambodia for $10 and they sell it for $800. The day we start thinking about how much we make while buying something, it's going to change our mindset. So if you go around the store and you know that, Gustav, you're making $10 an hour and you see a purse for $600, how many hours are you going to work to pay for that bag?
Mm-hmm.
If you take a breath and you think about that, that can give you a pause. Again, this is not in any way, shape, or form telling people not to enjoy life. But you should not be in a financial danger zone. That simply means you have 0% saved, 0% invested. You are closest to your next paycheck to bankruptcy. You don't have up to $2,000 in an emergency fund. And you go out there and go to the mall and buy yourself a credit, a used credit, and buy yourself a Louis Vuitton or a Bugatti or a Ferragamo purse or a Ferragamo shoe. That is insane.
Correct. And here's the deal, Dr. Edimo. I think one of the big challenges is, there is this new concept now where people, oh, you're online uncles, online fathers, online people trying to tell us how to live our life. And I mean, that's a conversation we'll come to. But I want us to tackle something here which is important because a big part of this entire thing, from what you've been explaining so far, what the numbers are saying, what the studies are saying, it's a mindset thing. And I like the fact that you keep going back to the mindset because that is where everything begins from, right? And
Mhm.
I know for a fact that getting to where you are right now is not by accident. You probably had gone through the journey too of struggling with credit cards, which are 24, 25%, getting things you don't need and things like that. I want you to walk us how you were able to, first of all, become aware of how inflicting that behavior was and what were the things you did to get yourself slowly out of that situation.
You know, when I came to this country in 2006, when you get a green card, do you know the first thing that they send to you?
Credit card application form.
Thank you.
Oh, America, these people, they get you to the system immediately.
Absolutely. You start seeing credit card application coming from left, right, and center. And guess what? Nobody has taught you what credit is.
Yes.
But all they do is they send you that application. And you just filling that application 2 seconds or 2 minutes within filling it, you're being approved for $5,000. Guess what? Bam. Before you realize, within a week, that card is in the mail. You picked it up. What do you have to do? You and your friends, you're going out, you're making $10 an hour or $7 an hour. You haven't even been paid. But you have
Mhm.
$5,000 in a credit card. What do? You go and swipe. Before you realize, $300 is gone that night. Your friends want to fly out to Maryland for the next weekend to figure out something. You don't have the cash, but you know what? You have credit. Yeah.
You're feeling rich.
You
You
oh
are feeling
yeah.
rich.
Oh yeah. You go in there, you buy yourself a ticket for $400. You rent a car, you go out there, you enjoy life. $1,000 is gone. Right now, you're already at the negative $1,400.
Absolutely.
Give or take, at the end of the month, they're asking you to make a minimum payment of $50. So you think that you're deceiving somebody, but you're deceiving yourself.
For real.
Because guess what? You will be making just the minimum payment. That minimum payment doesn't even take care of the interest.
Yes.
It won't.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
if you're already at 1,500 in debt, $50 is not the interest. A lot of those credit cards, they are 20 to 29% interest. Then
Crazy.
guess what?
Crazy.
And all these banks, I've been working in the banks. That's my nitty gritty. All these banks, they communicate. Before you realize, Citibank has sent you one. Before you realize, JP Morgan will send you, Chase will send you another one. So within your 2 years here in the United States, before you realize you are $20,000 in debt, that is where your catastrophe starts, brother. When you're
So you're already in the hole. You have to first of all take
you
yourself to zero and then get to positive.
with
And
a with a $20,000 credit card debt, minimum payment on those will be like $600.
yeah,
And
and
that
that's
is
just
just
minimum.
minimum. And that can take you up to like 13 years to pay if you're just paying that.
And by the time you're done, you most likely have paid about
You've
40
paid
grand.
about more than that. What are you talking about? 40 grand at 29.9%
No, you are
interest?
sitting somewhere about 60 something thousand dollars.
Absolutely.
And here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. You are even giving a scenario of somebody who just came into America and the first 2 years they find themselves in that situation. And most of the times you're still single. You don't have a life partner yet. You haven't really started getting yourself too entangled into other more costly ventures like a home, going to school, school fees, loans, and things like that. So you are really just setting yourself up for massive catastrophe for the next 20, 25 years, right? And
Yeah.
before I even move forward, I just want to recognize all of those who are online. As you're watching the program, please go ahead. Let us know. Put your own comments down in the comment section, right? Tell us what you think about some of these topics we are talking about. Share your own experiences if you've been through this journey and how you were able to come out. Now, there comes a point in anybody's life who is serious about building wealth, who decides at some point that enough is enough. I have to stop now and start turning my life around. I want you to talk to those people. I want you to give them some practical, first five practical steps, for example, or three practical steps that when they get to that point where they, as they say in Pidgin, water don't pass Gary, eh? Then they have to stop because they're about to drown. And then they make that decision that I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I have to do something different, otherwise, it's not going to work. What are some of those key steps, Dr. Edimo, that they need to start taking now? Not next
Uh,
week, not next month, now.
with respect to financial literacy, right? Or changing your ways and your mindset, the way you perceive or see finance. It has to stop, it has to come from within. And you have to take a true look of where your money goes. That is just true. You cannot be making $5,000 a month, but you're spending $9,000 a month. You're setting yourself up for a
Mm-hmm,
catastrophe. That is just it.
mm-hmm.
That's number one. Taking a true picture of what comes in and what goes out. That is the first step to figure out, to start making that shift. I'll tell you, I work with a lot of people. I've
Excuse me.
worked with over 700 people, in which a lot of these people, some of them don't even haven't looked at their finances in over a year. Money comes in and just goes out, comes in and goes out. If there is a deficit, they use the credit card. But you can't live like that. You can't live like that. So these are the first three steps that you have to do. Take a look at what comes in and what goes out. Number two, if you realize that you are at a net negative, start looking line item by line item where your money is going. Some of us have subscriptions that we don't even enjoy those subscriptions. Some of us, when we get paid, when they hear pay yourself first, is going to the mall to buy something for yourself, which is totally wrong. Number two, some of us every weekend we are out enjoying life with friends. There is nothing wrong with that. But if you are in a financial danger zone, there are certain things that you have to change in order for you to get yourself back on track. If you have credit card debt, that is the worst debt to have.
Yeah.
Because number one, it's more expensive. And number two, if you don't take that seriously, you will live with that for the rest of your life. So when you start looking line item by line item and see where you want to start cutting certain things, if you're still at the negative, what you should do, there are two things. You cannot live on one job. You have to look for multiple sources of income. So take for instance, you can't survive on one job. There are other things that you can do. Sometimes you can still be an engineer and drive Uber over the weekend, just for you to start getting yourself out of that hole. There shouldn't be any reason anyone living in the United States you are not investing at this time, even if it's
Hmm.
$100 a month. 20, 30 years from today, that will put you at the million mark. I'm telling you, just in S&P 500. There shouldn't be, these are times that people have been praying to have, they never got. We have this, but we are not taking advantage of it. Also, you have to look at your spending category. If you have a family, you have a home and stuff, you shouldn't spend more than 75% of what you make. That simply means your needs. That means your rent or your mortgage, your car note, your feeding, every stuff that takes care of the house for you and your family. At a minimum, 15% of what comes in every month should go towards your investments. And
Hmm.
at a minimum, 10% of what comes in should go towards your savings. If you're living in this day and time, just today, the news came out just in the past month. They have laid off over 1 million people in the United States.
Yeah.
If you're living in this time and you don't have an emergency fund, you are one paycheck away from disaster. An emergency fund, you start by building the first $2,000 because you shouldn't be in a situation where your tires, you have flat tires, they can't repair those tires. All you go to is a credit card. You don't have $800 to buy four tires to repair. Or you have
Exactly.
something with your car, all you have to do is to go to payday loan. Payday loan will give you 35% on that. And a lot of us, we keep doing that. We keep digging ourselves in that debt. So, number one, look at what comes in and what goes out. Take number two, take a line item and cancel a lot of the things that you spend your money, especially if you're in the negative. And if that doesn't suffice, you should look for a second job to make sure that you start paying some of those things down in order for you to get out of debt. Because there's one thing in the United States. If you are in debt, even if you want to acquire asset, you acquire asset at a very expensive rate as opposed to someone that has very good and reliable credit score
Credit.
or financial lifestyle.
I like the fact that you're really insisting a lot about getting out of debt, Dr. Edimo, because that is the key, that is the linchpin. In your case, during your own journey, I want you to walk us. What were some of those techniques you used? How did you apply them to get yourself out of debt and get yourself on the path to even start seeing some breathing room to investing? I know one of the important things you talked about right a few minutes ago was the power of identifying some expenses that you don't need. And worst of all, when you are in a financial quagmire, most of the expenses you don't need. You don't have wants no more. All you have to spend on are your needs, the things that you basically need to survive. We have to be honest with ourselves, guys, because one of the things that I've noticed, I hear this expression all the time: oh, I deserve this. I am gifting myself this. I deserve to have this. Deserve what? Owing credit cards for $40,000, paying 228% in credit interest, you deserve something. You deserve shit. You deserve jack. Guys, listen here. Dr. Jimo and I were adults. We are not children. On this platform, we will say it the way we know it. We are not saying we are perfect, but we are saying if you want to build something, we've been down in the trenches. Dr. Jimo, I want you to talk about your path to coming out of those debts and being able, what it took, some of the sacrifices you made, the sweating, the pain, the struggle, the lowering your ego, the accepting that sometimes life is tough. I am the one, I am not in the best place, I cannot pretend. I want you to walk people through those realistic things.
Yeah, I see. You know what? When I came here, even when I got my first job with the state of New Mexico, I was making about $50,000 in 2008. Yeah. Oh,
So
I
their
knew that.
lifestyle was 100K.
Oh Jesus, I knew that I was living the life, man. I was living in my two-bedroom apartment, and I was driving an X5 BMW. I had to put
What?
premium foot. Oh yeah.
Oh, oh my God. So you had all the different credit cards you could have in
Oh yeah,
America.
yeah. At that time, just remember, I was already coming from college after finalizing my MBA with about $17,000 in credit card debt.
And you bought their
So,
BMW X5.
wait, oh
And you
yeah.
told them to add some rims on it for $4,000. Oh my God.
You know, at this time, every weekend I'll go out with friends, we'll go clubbing and stuff. The credit card bills kept piling. You know, again, I wasn't even looking at my bank statement. I was just waiting for two
To
weeks to
get paid.
come for me to just continue the lifestyle. Paying the minimum payment on the credit card and stuff like that. And when you keep paying the minimum payment, sometimes you say, a lot of people, have you heard this statement? They say, I don't pay any credit card, you know, they
And then
go
they go no
nowhere.
place. It's crazy.
Yeah, that is what happens when you keep paying the minimum credit card, minimum payment. So, but over time, I was in this, I call it a rat trap, where to me, I was enjoying life, living the American dream. I'll go to the mall and shop on a regular basis. I had all these shoes and clothes, and you know, there come a point in time,
Wow.
I'll tell you, when I got appointed as a chief audit executive at the state treasurer's office, and I went to the New York Stock Exchange market to understand how investment works, and I saw folks in their late 20s. These folks were millionaires. At that time, I didn't even have $10,000 saved. I
Wow.
was like, there is a problem here, man. There is a big problem here. I have to start figuring out what that problem is. What is the root cause?
Mm-hmm.
When I came
Mm-hmm.
back from New York, I opened my bank statement for the past 3 months. I started line item stuff. I started seeing where my money was going. You know, I'll tell you about 20% of my disposable income was just going every pay
Wow.
period to things that I did not even need. That was when I said, I have to put a stop in this. I picked up a second job. That second job was to start paying down my credit cards because I realized that was the highest debt and it was the most expensive debt that I had.
Of all of them.
Yep. So I did that second job for over 2 years, and that brought my credit card debt to less than $5,000. You know,
Wow.
from there, I was also investing. I showed you an account that I started investing with $20 in 2010 or
Mm-hmm.
11. Today
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
multiple six figures. So it starts with that mindset. If you cannot address the root problem, just today I wrote something. A friend came online and said things are really, really hard these days. He doesn't even know how people are living or how people can invest. Let me tell you, there hasn't been a better time to start investing than now, because we are in a moment where you don't need $10,000 or $20,000 or $50,000 to start investing. From the palm of your phone, you can start investing today with $10. From the palm of your phone, you can start investing with $20. You go to work, you make $20 an hour, you work for 8 hours. You can say, within that $20 that I make, or within that $40, I want to invest $20 a day. Some people invest on a daily basis. If you invest on a daily basis, whether it's $10 or $20, that'll keep you from being broke in your old age. You will live in a good, enjoyable, ripe old age. So it starts with that mindset shift, looking at the root cause where your money goes. If you are in that negative gap, you have to figure out how to make up that gap. Some of it might
Absolutely.
be starting a business, some of it might be taking a second job, some of it might be reducing on where your money goes. So these are certain things. As according to USA Today, you need 1.8 million to retire comfortably in the United States.
Yeah.
1.8 million.
Yeah.
And I was looking at some statistics here. I'll tell you, according to Empower, which is a retirement brokerage, average retirement account balance for Americans 64 and above was about $491,000. The median is between 213,000 and
And they need
$441,000.
1.8 million.
They need 1.8. That is scary, man. That is scary.
It is.
So, so it's high time people start taking some of these numbers seriously. And do you know where all this came from? See, CNBC poll, 53% of respondents stating that they are behind on the retirement planning. On 83%, I mean 82% stated that they had nothing, they had very little understanding
Yeah,
about financial literacy and how to build wealth. We
correct.
work so hard, but we don't work smart. And that is some scary stuff that we have to start shifting our mindset, not just working hard, but working smart in order to put our money to work.
Man. And I like that. I like that you break it down even to the point of giving some statistical numbers. Guys, changing your financial life, building a fortress around you to make sure in your old age you don't suffer. It's not fun. It's not exciting. It's not partying. It's boring. Guys, let me tell you. That's why sometimes if we were talking here about gossip, we're talking about some crazy thing, we'll have thousands of people watching. But the stuff that really has to change people's life, it requires some focus. You talked to you about the credit card, Dr. Edimo, and I just did a small, brief, quick search. So for somebody who owes $5,000, I want everybody to pay attention to me. This is crazy. For somebody who owes $5,000 and wants to make just the minimum payment, usually the minimum payment is 2% of the balance. If that person is making only the minimum payment, which is 2%, it will take them between 22 to 24 years to clear that $5,000. And by the time they finish paying it off, they would have paid a total of 13,000. So they would have paid $8,000 more just in interest, almost 1.5 times the initial amount. Now, if they are paying $100 a month on that card, it will take them 9 years and they will pay $6,200 in interest. If they are paying $150 a month, it will take them 4 years and $2,700 in interest. And if they are able to make $250 payments a month, it will take them 2.5 years and they would have paid the least amount of interest, $1,300 in interest. Now, why do I take the time to say this? It's because all the things you've been saying, Dr. Adjuma, I hope people have been making notes. Guys, I hope you have your pens, your papers, and you are making notes about these things. The reason why is because nothing is going to change unless you change. Nothing is going to change unless you change. You can come, listen to it, feel energized, feel good. If some dopamine hits you, you feel great, you go back. If you don't change those habits, by next week, you'll be worse off than you were this week. I want you to ask yourself honestly, when you listened to us last week and this week, what has changed positively? Because if you haven't increased your investment, or you're not investing, or you're not paying down debt you have, know that it's gotten worse because the interest from last week to this week has increased. And I want us to touch something also very important, Dr. Edimo, because one of the key things is in this process of paying off debt, trying to build wealth, right? You've already made it clear that the important step first is to make sure you can minimize your bad debt, right? Now, I want you to talk about that balance between paying debt and investing. Should I first of all pay all my debt before investing, or I can do the two together, or I can be investing and don't care for the debt? Which is the best way to do it, based not only on the experience but the multitude of clients you've worked with?
There isn't any one way fit all with respect to
Mhm,
this response here. You can decide. The thing is, you can't just decide to just pay down debt and not invest because
mhm,
time in the market is the best thing that can ever happen to you. And that is
mhm,
where compound interest happens. Gone are those days that you needed $10,000 to open a brokerage account with Merrill Lynch or with JP
mhm,
Morgan. Now you can invest with $5. So coming back to this category of spending maximum 75%, investing 15%, and saving 10%, no matter the level of debt that you are in, you should make sure that at a minimum, no matter what's going on, If you're not in this category, you're over, because this is the highest category if you have a family and stuff. If you're a single man with little debt and stuff, I'll tell you there shouldn't be any reason you're not investing at least 25% or 20% of what you're making. So, but if you're a family man, you have a family, you have a house and stuff like that, your expenses skyrocket. So that's why you have up to that 17%. And if you can't, and that's 75%. And if your money that you're making doesn't suffice you within that 75% to take care of your needs, then that's a red flag for you to go get another a side job or start a side business. Because
Mhm.
you cannot just decide to take 100% of your money or the residual after your what you use as spending and put in and pay down debt. Because I'll tell you, it can take you 10, 15 years to pay down that debt. Then, after you pay down that debt, where will you be? You'll still be at zero. And at that time, maybe you're at 60 or at 50 or at 40. So you can walk and chew gum at the same time. That
Mhm.
simply means you used to pay down debt using the snowball method. So that means those crazy debts, like the payday loan, like the credit cards, start paying the ones with the higher interest rates. And when you're done with them, you take the balance that you used to pay into those and start paying down the other ones until you reach down. But the high the magic here is it has to start by you reviewing your expenses, where your money
Mhm.
goes. Because where your money goes can liberate you some of the funds that you didn't even know that you had. I like the word that you usually use, the leaks.
Yeah.
The leaks. You have to figure out where the leaks are. Some of us have subscriptions left, right, and center where we don't even use. Some of us will go to work 12-hour shifts, 15-hour shifts, but we have Netflix subscription. When do we even sit to watch Netflix? Again, this
And
is
worst of
just
all, we
the
don't even own the stock.
thank you. you know, so it comes down for to the individual. But
Mhm.
my goal, and I mean my advice here is start investing as early as you can. It doesn't
Mhm.
have to be a huge amount. Whether it's $50 every period that you get paid, or it's a
Mhm.
$100, then scale that up as your
Mhm.
disposable income increases. But don't sit back to pay down debt before you
Mhm.
start investing, because you're losing on the power of compound interest, which is the 10th wonder of the world.
That's amazing, Dr. Dimo. But I've just been thinking as you were responding. I'm saying, okay, somebody is sitting out there and they're asking themselves, wait a minute, I understand how important it is to invest, but I have a credit card I'm paying 25%. My investments will give me a return of about 10 to 11%. So really, it's kind of a wash if I'm investing and not paying down that credit card because I'm making 10%, 11% on this end, and I'm spending two times that amount to finance something that is not ending. Will that same mindset and that same approach still apply for somebody who has like a credit card debt, or the person has to think about the debt as in if the debt interest is lower than the returns on the stock market, then I can be making minimum payments on the debt and investing some on the market. How do you handle that? Because it's a critical question that comes up quite often for me.
I'll tell you a situation like that. You shouldn't, number one, you just read something about paying just minimum payment on a debt, how
Mm-hmm.
long it's going to take you and how much you're going to
Mm-hmm.
pay. If your goal is to pay minimum payment, you should go get another job. You should
Mm-hmm.
go get a second job. Your main goal is to pay down your credit, especially the credit card, as early as possible. So at the same time, what I'll say, if you're paying, say, $300 a month on a minimum payment, or $400 a month on a minimum payment, I'll recommend that you go do something extra. You pay that $400, or even make it to $500 or $600, that you can pay down at a faster pace, and the extra 200 you invest. But I
Mm-hmm.
won't be in a situation to tell you that you should concentrate for the next 5 years just to pay down a credit card. Meanwhile, you have zero in investment, in savings, or in emergency fund.
Okay, that makes sense. But here's the deal. You've walked this path. You've walked the walk. You are not just talking. It's something you've experienced, you've dealt with, you've handled all these different emotions. What is that one money mindset? And I know there are quite a few, but I want you to just think back about the one that was most instrumental in helping you with that transition. Because I know on this journey, at a certain point, you are paying down debt, you're trying to organize your finances, you're trying to invest. It feels kind of like you're balancing two balls climbing a ladder. But there is
Mhm.
something called the convergence point. That convergence point where you've paid the debt to the point where it's low now, and you're starting to see significant amounts of available, spendable, investable money coming out that you no longer need for the debt, and you can pour it now into the investment, right? During
Mhm.
that time, there's usually the tendency to want to splurge a little bit, to want to change your habit. I want you to walk people through what it takes to stay the course and what is the one mindset that really helped you make that final transition from someone who was struggling with debt to somebody who started investing, building, and today is sitting north of $1 million.
You know, that's a very good question. And I'll tell you something. When I was ingrained in debt, right, I didn't sleep well at night.
So you were flashing with those nice suits, but you were not sleeping.
Not at all. See, anybody that is ingrained in debt, that all you, and again, there's debt, there are two kind of debts, and I'm
Yes.
sure we're gonna get to that. But
Yes.
if you,
You
what
can
I'm
just handle
talking
that
here,
now.
what I'm talking here is the bad debt, right?
Yes.
When you're ingrained in bad debts, the credit cards, the car notes, the even your house. If you buy a house that doesn't align with your budget, that's bad debt. You know?
Absolutely.
Yep. So that's something because you know what? There is something that the banks don't tell you. When you buy a house on a 30-year mortgage, right? The first 14.8 years, whatever you pay, 87.9% goes into interest, escrow payment, PMI, because again, maybe your credit was really bad. You have to pay private insurance on the
Mm-hmm.
loan, all of that. So your
Mm-hmm.
first 14.8 years goes into 87% goes into that. So less than 12% of what you're paying goes into your principal. And that is
That's
what the
right.
banks, they don't show us, they don't tell you. They just make you um get they put you in that rat trap. You
Correct.
understand? So coming back to your question with respect to how did I get that mindset shift? Again, I had all these credit card debts. You know, I was living large. I had this car payment. I had to pay this BMW and stuff like that. And I was living large, going to the mall. There are times that I get paid. I have to wait for 2 weeks to get paid, but within a week, my money is gone.
You're already on debt.
Oh yeah, you know. And at that time, I was asking myself, will I ever be able to even afford a house?
Mm-hmm.
Will I even be able to ever really have a nest tag somewhere? And that nest tag to me was $10,000, $20,000. That's all I was thinking, to have a savings that's securing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
when I went to this conference in New York, this training in New York, they gave us some tips with respect to, you have to look at where your money goes to, and these are opportunities that have can grow. This is an account that they have been doing for 20, 30, 40 years. This is where it can take you. And I'll tell you, when you start building wealth where you have disposable income, or where you have assets, liquid assets that you can easily turn into cash, you sleep better at night. You are
Fact.
not afraid. You will be working, but you are not afraid that, oh, if I get fired today, where am I going to get cash to pay my mortgage? If I get fired today, even if it takes me 6 months to 9 months to get a job, will I survive? A lot of us today, we are living in the times where we are one paycheck away from being fired. We are
True.
one paycheck away from bankruptcy. We can't sleep well at night because we don't have that 3, 6 months emergency fund that if something happens to us, we don't have to start calling A, B, or C. for us to survive. Those are some of the things that I told myself I don't want to be in that situation. I don't want to be in that situation where if I lose my job today, the next minute I have to be calling Gustav and say, Goose, man, I need 5,000 or $6,000 or how much to pay my
It's not
mortgage.
good.
It's not
Yeah.
good. It doesn't even
Yeah.
show well about yourself. Most people in our communities, they don't keep friendship because of that. Some of this money you borrow from people, time to pay it back is a problem.
Very
So
true.
you don't want to get yourself into such a situation. That is why we keep preaching here. Everybody need that safety net. Everybody needs that investment because again, if you're getting into your old age, I've given you some statistics here. If you're getting into your old age, we are not sure if Social Security is going to be here. Some of us, we are working on 1099s. We don't even contribute to Social Security because we have our own company. And if you're working on 1099, you're not eligible for Social Security, and you will not be eligible for Medicare. So so a lot of us, and that I think that's a topic that we have to discuss in the next one of our
Yeah.
episodes here. Because
Correct.
some people they just believe that as long as you're in the United States, you're eligible for those things. You have to contribute into the system to be eligible
Correct.
for it. So if you don't
Absolutely.
contribute, you won't. Some people own their own private businesses and stuff. If you don't contribute in that to get those 20 credits, you will not be
Yeah.
eligible. And when that time comes, don't you should not be surprised because you
Very
don't have
true.
some of those things because you didn't put into it. So we have to start living consciously and we have to start educating ourselves or pay coaches, pay people that are in that space to guide you to make right decisions. Because I'll tell you that those decisions that you make now will be the best decision that you do in your 20 years that you'll be sitting back with some next step for you to live a better life.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome, Dr. Edimo. And I know we're certainly getting to the top of the hour here because when we start these conversations, we really cannot believe how fast time goes, guys. So, anyways, if you are just joining us or if you've been watching us the last 1 hour, we really appreciate you. Why don't you go ahead and subscribe to the channel, right? Make sure you leave a comment. Let us know that you've been watching. If you have a question of any kind, drop that question down in the comment because we want to make sure that we also talk about things that are very dear and close to your heart. And we can talk about a lot of things we know, but because of the breadth of our knowledge, sometimes when we get questions from you or we get suggestions of topics from you, it makes us limited to things that you will get the most value out of, right? So we're glad you're here with us. Just leave us a comment. Let us know that you're here. Don't forget to click the like button so that the algorithm can pick this. Dr. Dimo, we still have about 10 minutes to go, and I want us to move a little bit from this credit thing, right?
Yeah.
This week has been turbulent on the market, no doubt. My portfolio is sitting down here. I think about, I was just checking it, probably about just today alone. Today alone, I think it dropped. Let me see. What is it saying? It dropped by about 5% drop today, right? The last
Mhm.
week had probably seen, the last month has seen about a 5%, yeah, drop, right? Now, fortunately, I'm educated. I understand. I'm not bothered. I'm smiling. In fact, I have been buying like crazy this week because the market has been red. For the
Yep.
first time in many months, Meta was down to about 627. Boy, what kind of a deal is that when you know it's going to above $1,000 sometime next year?
Yep.
Right? So I want you again to remind everybody, especially those who are weak hands, why it is important not to panic, why it is important to continue to do what they have to do during times of market of red, when the market is red.
One thing let me just put this 1 minute.
Sure.
I tell people, and especially that the folks that come through our the folks that come through our coaching program, investing starts with the mindset. And investing is not gambling. I was sitting today and a friend sent me a text. He was like, "Hey, bro, what's going on with this market? My account was $6,000 in just a couple days, and
Now
today
it's
it's four
four.
it's $4,000." Yeah. I laughed. I was like, whoa. I was like, oh, you know what? The time that your account goes up, you don't even tell me. Now that
That is so true. That is so true. When the account is up and he's chopping, he doesn't remember you.
yeah.
Now the account is down, he thinks you have a magic wand. You can
So
command the market.
he was like, what is going on and stuff? I said, you know what? There's nothing for you to panic. I said, do you have some more cash to buy? I was like, bro, things are really tough right now. I don't have any cash to buy and stuff. I said, you know what? You know why you don't have cash? Because you haven't enrolled into a coaching program.
That's right.
All what you're doing is you're nitpicking my brain here and there. I cannot really help you. You cannot come to the hospital and you tell me you have a headache. I haven't done a diagnosis on you, right? And you want me to cure you. you know
Uh-huh.
there is no way for something like that to happen. We All of this, you have to be diagnosed.
Mhm.
If you're sick, that's why you go to the hospital. They do a blood work to figure out what is coming on. Then from the
Oh my
numbers
God.
they can
Uh-huh.
figure out how to help but coming back to investing, some of these people, they think that it's cloud boast, it's
Mhm.
what is that other thing? This is not gambling. This is not put $10,000 today, you have tomorrow, you have 20,000 now. This is investing consistently, be it on a bi-weekly basis or on a monthly basis. A lot of us, we play Njangi, Susu, all of that. That is how investment works. If you're a part of a Njangi that you have to go 12 months, you try as much as possible not to fail. Because if you fail, the whole country will hear your name. Again, you don't sign.
Uh-huh.
You don't sign any agreement for Jadi. So why can't you invest in your own self for your own future? Just the way you invest in Jadi, And again, you don't have to go put. I know people that are paying $1,000, $5,000 in Jadi every month, but they can't put $500 in investment and have that long-term mindset for 10 years, for 15 years. And there are projections here. These projections are tied to the way the stock market has been performing for the past 100 years. So
Mhm.
the least situation, even if it's 10% a year, for 15 years, 20 years, putting $500 or $100, that will be a nest tag that you never ever dreamt you have in your bank account.
Very true.
There are a lot of people that if you tell them to show you 50,000 or $20,000, they don't have that. They
True.
don't.
That's true.
But
That's
but
true.
we don't have that mindset to say, okay, let's be patient, let's have that long-term mindset. Some of us, we start investing, everybody can open a brokerage account. They download a brokerage account, put 5,000 or 2,000 in there. They are hoping for it to be 7,000. When that 5,000 goes down to 4,000 or 3,500, they sell everything and they run away from the market. I just want to tell you, the stock market, it's not magic. They take money from the folks that have no idea about what the stock market is, and they give it to the people that have the ideas about the stock market. So you should have a long-term mindset. You should get some coaching for those that have been there, done it, and you should make sure you see track record of those rookies that tell you that they know what you're doing. If somebody cannot show you what they have been doing for the past 5, 10 years, how their performance have been, I bet you if they give you any recommendation, run. Because that recommendation will take you to your grave. And you'll be one of those proponents that are going around saying that the stock market is a scam, which is not the case.
It's not a scam. It's not a scam. It works. I mean, Dr. Edimo, you couldn't have said it any better, man. You couldn't have said it any better, right? And I really think there's just so much we can always talk about, but now I think we're getting to the top of the hour here. So, looking at the market this week, moving into next week, what are your moves? What are some of the companies you are looking at? And by no means, everybody, this is not financial advice, right? We are just sharing here our experiences. We are sharing our opinions. Investment goes with risk. You do your own due diligence because if you are taking the maximum risk, you have to take the maximum risk, right? So do your own due diligence, but we're just sharing the things that we believe in and that we are doing. And of course, it has produced results for a lot of people. So feel free. We're putting it on social media so you can copy it and use it, but it's not advice.
Yep.
Ah. Dr. Edimo, what are you looking at this week?
So what's going on in the market just today? I don't know. I haven't checked what was going on today. Elon Musk and Tesla, they had to vote for a $1 trillion package for Elon Musk.
What's your take on that?
That, man, let me tell you. Let me give you this. Tesla is worth 1.3 trillion right now. They
Yes,
want to pay this guy $1 trillion over a 10-year period based
correct.
on performance. And
Uh-huh.
based on the performance, if he hits all the line item in that performance, Tesla will be worth $8.6 trillion. Why
So
shouldn't
they're
you?
paying him 1 billion to 8 times the
A
company.
trillion,
A
a
trillion,
trillion.
sorry, to 8 times the
Yes,
company.
absolutely. And those of us that are shareholders, they sent us documents. We had to
That,
sign some of those documents and
that's
we
right.
voted
I
for it.
received that too. Yeah.
Yeah, so it felt good, that you're part of the decision making.
To hire the CEO. That's the power of ownership. You're signing some
Yep,
documents in their office. Elon Musk, I'm
yep.
going to decide how to pay you.
Yep, yep. So that was
Eh?
one. And today, Eli Lilly. So I hope they vote for that on that, right? Because that guy's a genius, man. That's one of the
Yeah,
top
I agree
CEOs
with
in
you.
America.
I agree.
He has done things that nobody can even match. So if why shouldn't I pay you something to eight x my company? So I'll do that. I'll do that anytime, anywhere. You know. Another thing, Eli Lilly and Nova Nordisk, today they signed a contract with the federal government in which they're giving back some money. So those of us that are of high weight, we can now lose weight because things like Monjaro and Zalpan, they were selling for $1,000. As of January, they'll be selling for 250. So
So you are really saying instead of people going out to work and eat healthy, they should use Mojaro.
if, if if you cannot go out and walk and go and
At
diet,
least
you
that's
can.
right. That's
That's the
right.
next.
That's
That's
right.
the
Stay
next.
healthy.
That's the
That's the
next.
key.
So Eli Lilly and right now, you see all this volatility in the market. It's because the hedge funds and retail investors, they're looking at artificial intelligence as if it's overvalued. So the other day, Palantir reported peaks expectation top and bottom numbers. But again, the stock fell because they realized that, what, this is just crazy. How can a stock like this be close to $1 trillion when it was $10 or $8 just a couple years ago,
Mm-hmm.
less than 18 months ago? So they said a lot of these companies are overvalued and stuff. So these hedge funds, they have started shifting, selling, taking gains, and getting into like the pharmaceuticals, into like the
Yeah.
getting out of the growth,
Mm-hmm.
and just rebalancing their portfolio. And
Sector
again,
rotation.
yeah, and again, that is why we are here, because we help those that we coach to help to tell them what time they have to rotate their portfolio, because you cannot just be in the same thing forever. It comes back to some of the stocks that we talked about, like which stock was that it was 160 in during COVID time, and it's 75 cents now. So
This
you
thing, only beef or something, or only meat or something.
beyond
Beyond
meat.
meat. Beyond meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So that is yeah. So don't just
Mhm.
don't just think that you can just put your money somewhere and just leave it there.
Correct.
especially if you're buying single stocks. And with our programs, what we do as well, we analyze your risk. How much risk do you want to take? Based on your risk, that's how we coach you, with respect to certain things that you do. So again, coming back, pharmaceutical, AI, and again, getting some ETFs into your portfolio stuff just to have a balanced
Mhm.
portfolio so that even if there's a downturn, the 5%, 7% downturn wouldn't really have that much of an effect on your portfolio because again, it's going to come. But if there's a downturn, you start hitting 50%, then you have a problem with your portfolio. It's time for you to start figuring out what the next step's going to be for you.
Awesome. That's awesome. Any final words before we call it an evening?
Oh, it's always a pleasure to be with you, my brother Gustav. Again, my name is Heinrich Edimo. I am the owner and founder of WorldSmart. So WorldSmart is just a platform and a community that we build. We service entrepreneur and professionals, teach them how to build wealth, help them with their taxes, and make sure that we strategize and work with them to minimize the amount of money they pay to the federal government. The tax code was not made for you to pay taxes. The tax code was made for you to streamline your taxes so that you pay as minimal taxes as you need. So if you're an entrepreneur, you own a business, you don't even have a retirement account, or you're looking at somebody that can help you with streamlining your tax as we get into the end of the year and getting into the next year, WallSmart is here to help you, guide you through that. So don't hesitate to reach out. We are on Facebook, Heinrich Edimo. We are on Instagram, WallSmart Mastery, and we are also on YouTube. So don't hesitate to reach out. We'll be here to help you to save your money and to build that legacy. Because it is rightly said, which in Ecclesiastes 11:2. Invest in 7 ventures, yes, in 8. You do not know what disaster will come upon the land. So don't depend on one stream of income because disaster might be next year to hit you. Until
Oh,
next time, thank you, brother.
that's awesome. Now you're giving me some biblical quotes. The beautiful thing is that you're not only giving the quotes, but you are showing people how to practically make money. That's powerful. You are not like some quack pastors who are giving the quotes and asking people to pray for holy money, right? At least this one is practical. So, hey, everybody, we are glad you were hanging out with us today. I hope you gathered something from what we talked about. We do this every Thursday, right? Every Thursday we come together. We individually have our different channels, but every Thursday we just come together, share ideas, go back and forth. And next Thursday we'll be talking about how to leverage AI, how to invest in AI, and how to become successful at that. You see, AI is one of those generationally transformative technology that has come. A lot of people talk about AI, but 99% of people don't really know what AI is. They might think you ask them, they'll tell you Chat GPT. Chat GPT is just the drop
It's just
in
a
the bucket
tip.
of AI. It's
Yeah.
just the tip of the iceberg.
Yep.
So next Thursday, we are going to be talking extensively about the AI outlay, how to invest in AI, how to even position yourself if you want to become an AI professional. So get your friends lined up, bring them over to watch this live show next Thursday, same time, 4 p.m. Central Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And as you go out this week, be well, be blessed, and never stop being a blessing to somebody. Until the next time, leave us a question down in the comment. Go ahead and click the like button, subscribe to the channels so that whenever we are online, you'll be the first to receive that information. Until the next time, bye for now, and see you again at the top. Take care, Dr. Edimo. See you
Take
later.
care, my brother. See you later.